So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Workforce Wednesday. Today our topic is Targeted Plan, Preparing Students for Job Search. Our presenters today are Jasmine Grabowski and Victoria Hinojosa. They are both on the Regional Navigator team for Workforce Solutions Texas Gulf Coast. Today is May 20th, 2020, and my name is Olga Escamilla, and I will be the host and moderator for today. So I want to welcome our presenters this morning or this afternoon. Our first presenter is Jasmine Grabowski, and she is passionate about serving others. She has a background in teaching and recently served with the Summer Earn and Learn Youth Program. She graduated from Texas State University with a BA in German and earned a job coaching certification from University of North Texas Workplace Inclusion and Sustainability Employment Program in 2019. Her goal is to continue supporting her community by helping adults and students reach their fullest potential. So welcome, Jasmine. We also have Victoria Hinojosa, and she specializes in training and educating community partners, Workforce Solutions staff, and job seekers throughout the 13-county region. She served over 8 years at Texas State University Career Services Center as a recruiting coordinator, preparing college students for the workforce. She is a graduate of Texas State University with a BA in Mass Communications. So welcome, Victoria.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So welcome, Victoria and Jasmine.
Thank you, Olga.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here once again.
Would you believe there's 28 workforce boards in the state of Texas? The link at the bottom right will take you to the workforce board designated to your region. So looking at the map, which board are you closest to? Please type your responses in the chat box. And Victoria and I are actually designated to number 28, and that one is referred to as the Gulf Coast Region Workforce Board.
Somebody from Alamo, welcome. I don't know what number Alamo is. Oh, Alamo is 20, and Rio Grande. Middle Rio Grande. Is that 27? Yeah, it is. Oh, good lucky guess. All right. And South Texas, welcome. Borderplex, number 10. Thank you for coming. Well, we're so glad to have all of you here. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Okay. The purpose of this webinar is to give you some tools to help guide your students in developing their own targeted career plan. So what we're going to do is explore a 4-step process of career planning and provide you with the tools and resources you can apply in the classroom. And then we're going to teach you how to incorporate some current labor market information for developing career plans. We're also going to explain how Workforce Solutions can help your students obtain their career goals. And finally, we will provide you with tools for creating a targeted plan. Before we get started, however, we have a quick activity we want to share with you. On the next slides, you'll see numbers from 1 through 52 in random order all over the page. There's 2 steps that you have to follow. Step 1, you will have 15 seconds to find as many numbers as you can in sequential order, starting with the number 1. Then you're going to look for number 2, then number 3, and so on until we tell you to stop. Step number 2, when you hear the word stop, write down the last number you found in sequential order. Are you ready? Get set, go.
Ten seconds left. 5 seconds left. And stop. Everybody stop. All right, let's find out who got the highest score. Please type in the last number you saw when we called stop. Hopefully it was in sequential order. 9, 4, 7, 6, 8, 20. Somebody got 20. Wow, y'all are great. That's impressive. Okay.
And now we're going to actually do this exercise again. Follow the same two steps as before. Step 1, find as many numbers in sequential order as you can in 15 seconds. And then step 2, when we tell you to stop, write down the last number you found in sequential order. Ready, set, go.
10 seconds. 5 seconds. And stop. Okay, Let's see what your score was this time. Please type in your answers in the chat box. 19, 15. Oh, good. The scores are getting higher. That's great. 18, 13. Excellent. 23. Rio Grande. You're amazing. Okay. Excellent job.
So what did you guys learn? Many of you got higher numbers in the second round. Why do you think that is? Please type your responses in the chat box. In the second attempt, the grid lines should have enabled you to see a pattern. Once you discovered the pattern and followed it, the search became easier. The same principle can be applied to the importance of developing a career or a job plan. Following the pattern is an example of the benefits of developing a targeted plan. We have a PDF version of this exercise from our adult curriculum, Module 1, Targeted Plan, that we will make available to you after the webinar. And in the event that you want to use this activity in the classroom, here's how you would do this. When we deliver the workshop in person, we place 2 number sheets face down in front of each participant. In round 1, we tell the participant that they will have 30 seconds to circle as many numbers in sequential order as they can find. Once the timer is set and everyone is ready, we will allow them to flip the first page over and start. In round 2, we ask them to fold their second sheet half vertically and again horizontally to create those grid lines. And then we have them unfold the sheet and place it face down on the table. When we tell them to start again, we have them flip the page over and search for the numbers a second time.
Antoine de Saint-Exupéry once said, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." We almost always do better when we have a plan, because a plan gives us a starting point and something to reference when we lose focus. You want your students to know that anything in life involves a plan, whether it be related to school, finding a job, or even in their personal lives. In order to be successful, it's critical to know it's critical to know your needs, your wants, your values, your skill sets, so that you can align them accordingly to obtain your career goals. So now that we've established the importance of having a plan, let's now dive into the 4 steps of career planning. So there are a lot of career planning modules out there. Most range between 3 and 5 steps. We're going to focus on a 4-step module that really focuses on self-discovery and then career exploration. So in this model, step 1 is all about self-discovery. Who am I? What are my interests, skills, values, personality type? We're going to explore different free online assessments your students can take in order to better understand themselves. And then in step 2, that is career exploration. This is where students start to explore different career paths based on the results of their assessments. In this step, we will also introduce how to use labor market information and resources to determine a suitable career path. Step 3 is plan for success. And in this step, we explore 2 questions. The first question is, what do I want to do? And the second one is, what am I willing to do to get there? The first question revolves around what decisions are they going to make about their career path, and the second question helps them navigate through potential obstacles. And then finally, step 4 is the action plan. How do I get there? Now is the time to set the goals. And we'll give you some ideas on how to help your students map out their plan and discuss additional resources that are available through their local Workforce Solutions offices. Okay, so let's get started. Step 1, who am I? This is about self-discovery. Even though that's a lifelong process, we have a couple of assessments to help get that conversation started. And some of these assessments measure personality types, some measure skills and interests, others help students understand what type of work they want to do. And studies have also shown that individuals who take personality tests gain a better sense of self. And this process will help your students understand themselves and how they relate and respond to the world around them. So in the next few slides, we will review several different types of assessments.
The Myers-Briggs type indicator, commonly known as MBTI, is an instrument that was developed by 2 Americans, Catherine Cook Briggs and her daughter, Isabel Briggs Myers. The MBTI is based on the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung's theory of cognitive functions. Jung speculated that there are 8 primary mental processes people use to learn new information and evaluate or make decisions on that new information. There are 4 learning functions known as perceiving processes and 4 decision-making functions called judging processes.
The Keirsey temperament sorter developed by David Keirsey is another instrument based on Carl Jung's theories. However, instead of viewing the four dichotomies independently, Keirsey thought how the different aspects or categories of personality integrate together. Young and Myers-Briggs are concerned they're concerned with thought processes in the mind, whereas Keirsey looks at a long-term behavior, disposition, or temperament. He speculated that there are four primary patterns of behavior or temperaments based on certain dichotomies in the Myers-Briggs system. This led to the development of a new model. And in this model, you may be familiar with the SJs, who Keirsey calls the guardians. They're sensor judgers and they're guardians. Then you also have the SPs, or the sensor perceivers, and Keirsey calls them artisans. Then you have the intuitive feelers, or NFs, and they're known as idealists. And then finally the NTs, the intuitive thinkers, and they are known as rationals.
Here's a list of personality assessments based on Carl Jung's theory. When we researched the difference between the Myers-Briggs and the Keirsey, we learned that the two models are often confused by practitioners. All but one of the websites listed on the screen offer a free assessment that will provide your temperament or type with a basic description. A fee is required to receive the full report. Now, the only test that cannot be taken for free is the MBTI. If you want to take the true MBTI assessment, you have one of three options. 1, MBTIonline.com, 2, MBTI certified practitioner administering the assessment to you directly, or 3, your organization or school administering the assessment. The holocodes.com website is owned by a psychologist who is an MBTI certified practitioner, and he does offer group rates to schools interested in administering the MBTI.
Now let's look at a different theory and system for determining personality types, known as Holland's theory of vocational choice. How many of you are familiar with ONET or My Next Move? Please type in your response in the chat box. It looks like most of you are familiar with these websites. That's excellent news. Both of these websites are based on Holland Codes, which is a system of classifying jobs into job categories or interest clusters, or sometimes they're known as work personality environments.
Don Holland created a system that matches personality with work. He speculated that different personality types like to do certain types of work, and when people of the same personality type come together, they create work environments that are suited to their personality type. The 6 work personality types are realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. Which of these 6 personality types resonates with you the most? Type your answers into the chat box. While you are responding, we'll highlight the traits of each.
So here's some of the hallmark traits that make up the realistic personality. They tend to be assertive and competitive, are interested in activities requiring motor coordination, skills, and strength. They like working with animals, tools, or machines. They address problems by taking action, doing something physical rather than talking about it or thinking about it. And they prefer concrete approaches rather than abstract theory. They value practical things that you can see and touch, and they like to work with things.
Investigative personality types tend to be analytical, intellectual, reserved, independent, scholarly, and curious. They like to observe rather than act. They are unconventional and independent thinkers who are curious and very insightful and tend to lack leadership and persuasive skills. They are interested in using logic and solving highly complex and abstract problems and prefer abstract and innovative approaches to problem solving. They value logic, order, and innovation and prefer to achieve by using their intellect rather than their association with people and things. They like to work with data and ideas.
Artistic personality types tend to be creative, impulsive, original. They're sensitive, open, independent, innovative, and emotional. They like beauty and unstructured activities and variety. They enjoy using their hands and imagination to create. They solve problems by creating something new. They're definitely abstract thinkers. They value change, independence, creativity, and self-expression. They avoid highly ordered or repetitive activities. And they see self as expressive original, and independent. And they like to work with people and ideas.
Social personality types are helpers. They prefer to work in teaching, counseling, nursing, or customer service type jobs. They rely on their verbal skills, feelings, and ideas when working with people and solve problems by using empathy. They tend to avoid using machines, tools, or animals to achieve a goal. They value helping people and solving social problems and see themselves as helpful, friendly, and trustworthy. They like to work with people.
Enterprising personalities are persuaders. They tend to be strong leaders, energetic, enthusiastic, confident, assertive, and decisive. They prefer to lead, manage, influence, and persuade in order to achieve their goals or economic gain. It should be no surprise, then, that these personality types enjoy many power, status, and being in charge. They rely on their intuition to solve problems and are willing to take risks. Consequently, they avoid activities that require careful observation and scientific or analytical thinking. They value success in politics, leadership, or business, and they see themselves as energetic, ambitious, and sociable. They like to work with people.
Last but not least, we have the conventional personality type, also referred to as organizers. They are organized, orderly, diligent, efficient, practical, task-oriented, trustworthy, conscientious, and detail-oriented. They are the record keepers of the world and carry out tasks in detail, uphold standards, and follow procedures. They enjoy following a routine and set procedures and solve problems by following procedures. They avoid ambiguous and unstructured activities and value security, stability, order, and routine. They see themselves as orderly, efficient, and good at following a set plan. They like to work with data.
So it looks like there's a good compilation of different personality types in our audience today. However, it looks like most of you are social, but there are a few doers and a couple of creators or artistic personalities, one or two thinkers, and I saw some enterprising or persuaders and conventional organizers. And then somebody beat me to this. I saw some chatter on the chat box about some people actually named more than one personality type. And you're correct, because typically people are more than just one type. After you take an interest profiler, you actually receive a code of 2 or 3 letters representing whatever combination of personality types that make up you. And so the best way to determine your Holland code is to take the test.
My next move is one access point to the O-Net Interest Profiler. This is a free online assessment that helps students or job seekers figure out what they like to do and what kinds of careers would suit them. To access the assessment, click on the Start button under the third option, Tell us what you like to do. Once you click the Start button, just follow the prompts, and then when the assessment is completed, the results will follow. The website and assessment are also available in Spanish.
So here are the test results for our sample student, Tevin. The bolded numbers indicate Tevin's top 3 interests are realistic, artistic, and enterprising. So he has the Holland code of RAE. And we'll come back to the significance of this code a little later in our presentation. Again, here we've listed several assessments based on the work of John Holland. We've indicated which are free and which must be purchased. If you want a more detailed assessment, then consider purchasing one of those listed under the Not Free section. I've had some personal experience with the Strong Inventory and the SDS, or Self-Directed Search. The Strong Inventory is probably my favorite. Once you take it, you receive a really nice, colorful, in-depth report about your skills and interests and how they relate to one another. And they even offer really good career choices for somebody with your combination. I had a lot of interest on mine, and it was really funny. I actually ended up being known as my top profession was to be a military captain, which is not going to happen. But anyway, thought that was interesting. Mm-hmm. Then on the SDS, it comes out in a printed version, and it is, well, I've always known it in a printed version, but it also comes, it's now available online. But the printed version, if you need one, is pretty self-revealing. So you get a test booklet, and then you get the occupational finder. So as students finish the test booklet, then they go to the occupational finder to see their results, and then look for different occupations that fit their combination of letters for the Holland Code. And then that hollandcodes.com website that Jasmine mentioned earlier also offers these tests, again, for a price, but they're backed by a psychologist who can also interpret results. And I believe, based on what I've seen, he gives group discounts to institutions.
In this next section, we will provide you with some tools from Module 1 Targeted Plan Curriculum to help identify work values and specific job preferences to help your students determine what is important in their job or career. For students who already know what career path they want to take, completing these assessments may be beneficial in their job search process. In the following slides, we will demonstrate 2 different assessment tools that we use. These are also available in the PDF format, which we will share with you after this webinar.
So work values are core principles related to your occupation that are important to the job seeker. They include tasks involved in doing a job as well as what they get out of work. So to quickly demonstrate this assessment, we're going to ask you to take a moment to read over these values, then rank each according to how important they are to you, with 1 being the most important and 6 the least. So for example, the number 1 thing I value the most is having a job with a supportive manager. And although recognition is important to me compared to the other values, it's my least important. So I ranked it at number 6. So now it's your turn. Just decide on what you consider to be your most important and also your least important. So all I want to know from you is your number 1 and your number 6. And then just type that into the chat box in this order. Most important / least important. Okay, we'll give you a few minutes to respond. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of supportive and as their number 1, and then recognition as their number 6. Relationship, I'm seeing relationships as a number 1. Very good. And recognition in number 6. Relationships and achievement. Okay, fabulous. All right, excellent job.
Now let's look at job preferences. You want to explain to your students that work preferences are the things that they would be looking for in a job that will make it most enjoyable for them and produce the highest degree of job satisfaction. According to Gallup, about 85% of Americans hate their current job. To prevent this from happening to your students, it is critical that they outline their personal work preferences so that they accept the job that would be most enjoyable for them. Some of the questions to consider are minimum salary, whether they need benefits, location of the job, shift preference, and environment, meaning would they work indoors or outdoors. On this slide, we're going to show you some tools that you can use in the classroom to help the students determine their job preference. The things we look for in a job that will make it most enjoyable and produce the highest degree of job satisfaction.
So listed on this slide are some excellent assessments that help identify work preferences and learning style. And these work preference assessments are different from the one we just demonstrated to you. These assessments focus on type of work performed, and they're worth exploring. I really enjoyed the careerperfect.com. It has a really good assessment on work values and also work preferences as they pertain to actual job duties that students might or job seekers would actually do on their job.
Now, let's look at identifying skills that your students may have. Encourage your students to evaluate their hobbies, volunteer activities, social interests, and work experiences. This could include helping a family business or being a caretaker for a sibling or even a relative. Students should also examine their favorite academic subjects and prior knowledge to help them identify their specific skill area.
So employability skills are the job-ready, universal skills employers wish all candidates would have. There are 3 types of employability skills that your students can use to market themselves, and these are job-specific skills, transferable skills, and self-management skills. And we'll briefly break down the 3 categories.
This one is job-specific skills. This includes experience, knowledge, and abilities pertaining to a specific job. For example, a fireman would have knowledge about how a fire spreads through a structure along with skills needed to handle that fire. A paramedic will have the necessary first aid skills to handle an emergency, plus knowledge of human anatomy.
So transferable skills are general skills that can be used in a variety of jobs. Some examples include good interpersonal, verbal, and written communication, the ability to learn, computer skills, self-management, critical thinking, information handling, numeracy, career management, and teamwork.
The last category is self-management skills. These are abilities that allow people to control their thoughts, feelings, and behavior. So strong self-management skills enables us to set our goals independently and take initiative to achieve those goals. They also help us be patient and control our emotions during times of stress. Other examples of self-management include organization, time management, self-motivation, and accountability.
So we just covered a lot of different assessments from personality types, interests, work values, and more. So something you might consider is creating a template for your students to use to keep track of their results. They can do this with a notebook, have their own little journal, or you can create a template. So the template that you see on screen is something we put together for this webinar, but it's based off other templates that we have found. In our targeted plan curriculum, our student booklet acts like a journal or a portfolio that our workshop participants can use to record their results. And again, we have a PDF version of this booklet, of the student booklet, that we will make available to you after this webinar. But keeping track of this information will prove vital as we move into career exploration.
As Victoria just said, the information collected from the self-discovery phase is important for the second step in the career planning process. The second step is known as career exploration. Here, we're going to teach you about labor market information, what it's used for, why it's important, where you can find it, and when and how to use it. Labor market information is an excellent resource for exploring different careers, and in a few minutes, we will explore different LMI websites and show you how to incorporate the assessment results into finding those suitable careers. Can you tell me what labor market information is? And if you would, please type your response in the chat box. If you are thinking about wage information, you would be correct. Implementing the use of labor market information is a great way to explore wages, earnings, and benefits for specific occupations. All right, another answer you may be considering is job openings. So if that came to your mind, you would be correct. Information such as where work is available by region, how many people work in specific occupations, and where the jobs are can all be answered through LMI. If you guessed unemployment, then you would also be correct again. Labor market data can also provide numbers on unemployment data and information as well. And if you thought employment demographics, then that is correct as well. Employment demographics includes characteristics such as race, sex, age, ethnicity, and something else you can find, through labor market information. Now, the next one, labor supply and demand, plays a huge role in the labor market. The supply of labor is indicated by how much or what price laborers are willing to work for. And of course, demand for labor explains how much a company is willing to pay their workers for their labor and what their human resources needs are at that time. Job candidates should seek out positions that are in high demand and projected to have a high number of growth. Understanding labor market information also includes becoming familiar with future job projections. This refers to occupations that are predicted to grow in high demand in the near future and over the next 10 years. We recommend using LMI to seek out the fastest growing occupations, those with the most growth opportunities, and occupations that pay the highest amount of wages. And of course, education and training. LMI can also provide information on education and training required for specific occupations, and if any additional training is needed to advance their careers. So to recap, LMI is data that provides information on job openings, unemployment, employment demographics, and labor supply and demand. In addition, labor market data contributes to future job projections, specifies if more education or training is required for specific positions. Now we're going to talk about why labor market information is important. By applying LMI, job seekers can target their job search to focus on the industries and companies that are in high demand. They can compare average wages across industries and regions and learn about which occupations are disappearing. And that, for example, bank tellers, milkmen, things of that nature have disappeared over time.
So let's do a little exercise. Tell me, when should we use labor market information? You can type in your responses as we go. So one is for job search. I'm seeing that response. Also relocating, if you have to move to another state or another city or even any other geographical area. It's good to consult LMI information to find out where the good jobs are. If you're changing jobs and you want to know maybe the training requirements or what's expected in a new job or a new career, you can always look to LMI to give you that information as well. Moving up the ladder, if you want that job promotion, you might want to figure out, okay, what do I need to do? What kind of training do I need that will get me into that next position? Career exploration and planning, the very reason why we're here today. And we'll show you how we can use LMI in career exploration and planning. So labor market information should be used for conducting job searches and relocating to a different geographical area, changing jobs, and moving up the career ladder. And students can utilize these LMI resources for career exploration and planning.
There are several ways on how to use labor market information. For example, job seekers can use this information to compare their skills to occupational requirements. When exploring different career options, it's a good idea to compare your existing skills to set what is required for your intended career. This will help you determine what additional training and education you may need to locate training programs that are in your area. It's important to know where the jobs are because the job outlook can change unexpectedly. We saw this happening with COVID-19 when the unemployment rate dropped drastically within a matter of 2 months. Students should research the job outlook for key industries they are interested in and make sure it has been projected as a positive job outlook. Students should also familiarize themselves with jobs that offer growth opportunities. And growth opportunities jobs are those careers that are currently in high demand as well as in the future. Employers want to fulfill their human resources needs by hiring individuals who are highly skilled in their future profession. Remind students that they can pursue their skills, interests, and passions by closely examining wages and available openings before making a final career decision. Next, identifying desired industry is a key component of how labor market can be used. Job seekers who desire to work in a specific industry should consider several factors in their job search. For one, find out which occupations are growing in their areas. The following step would be to examine how much the occupation pays and if their skills matches the career. Lastly, students need to find out which jobs have openings and what the current hot jobs are in their area. Next, taking time to learn and discover different occupations can be beneficial for your students. By following an organized process and having a clear understanding of occupations and their own skill sets, job seekers will be successful in choosing their career path. In summary, here's how you can use labor market information. Compare your skills to occupational requirements, find out where the jobs are, look for jobs with growth opportunities, identify desired industries, and lastly, learn about different occupations.
So now that we know the what, why, when, and hows of labor market information, let's look at where to find it. There are several websites for local, state, and national labor market information that are user-friendly and provide information that will make career exploration and job searching easier. On the next few slides, we will review different resources that provide critical labor market information on occupations, wages, job openings, job growth, and education and training requirements.
A good place to start for your local labor market information is with your Workforce Development Board or local Workforce Solutions office.
This is the Workforce Solutions website for the Houston-Galveston Area Council. On this website, job seekers can view targeted industries critical to the Houston-Galveston region's economic future. The targeted industry list features occupations projected to offer the largest numbers of employment opportunities now and 10 years down the road. And we strongly encourage you to reach out to your Workforce Solutions website or local office for your local career labor market information.
For individuals who reside in the Houston-Galveston area, we encourage you to review the High Skills, High Growth booklet and the Occupation Profile section on the WRK Solutions website. Now, both features provide brief descriptions on high demand occupations, provides useful facts about popular career choices, important information regarding education and training requirements, local training providers, and you can locate major employers hiring within those respective occupations.
So WorkInTexas.com is a powerful online job matching and workforce services system. It provides fast access to a complete set of employment tools in one website, and it offers job seekers immediate and continuous access to job matching services. Even when job seekers are not logged on, WorkInTexas.com continues to match job openings with qualified job seekers and generates notices to alert them to potential job opportunities. Job seekers can also browse thousands of job postings, including all Texas state agency jobs, refer themselves to open positions, and complete resumes and/or state applications and maintain them online through this website. Also, this website pulls job postings from all the other websites, all the big popular websites or job database systems that are out there. So it's an excellent resource.
Texas Career Check is a website used as an exploration tool for researching careers in higher education institutions. The site offers two main sections, Exploring Careers and Exploring Education. Under the Explore Careers tab, students find occupation information, learn about occupation trends, careers in the military, and assess their interest in the Interest Profiler. Under the Exploring Education tab, students can explore different Texas colleges and universities, view their programs of study, and compare schools.
Another fabulous resource on Texas Career Check is Texas Reality Check, a lifestyle calculator that asks users a series of questions to consider when planning out their personal expenses for the future. It's a great website that helps them kind of figure out what kind of lifestyle they want and how much money it's going to take to get there, and also figure out what occupations will help them achieve that lifestyle. It has something called a lifestyle calculator, which will do this for them. And once users have completed the series of questions, they'll be provided with a summary of their total projected living expenses. We find it to be a very useful tool. It can be used with all ages. It's a lot of fun, even with elementary or middle school kids.
Career One Stop offers information on career exploration, training, and jobs across the country. It lists hundreds of occupation profiles with data available by state and metro area. Users can participate in self-assessments and explore their video library, which offers insight into possible occupations, industries, skills and abilities, work options, and education levels. Job seekers can also use the site to compare employment and wages by local or metro area or by zip code.
The United States Bureau of Labor Statistics offers a plethora of information. Under the section titled Wage Earnings and Benefits, the Department of Labor allows job seekers to view wage data in detail by industry on the county, state, and national level. There is a unique section where you can search for wages by demographics such as race, sex, age, and ethnicity. For individuals interested on the future job outlook, users can select the Employment tab and then click on Employment Projections. Here, job seekers will discover everything from videos, latest news releases, as well as charts and graphs regarding future job projections.
The Occupational Outlook Handbook is organized according to the Standard Occupation Classification System, or SOC system. On the left side of the screen, you can see the list of 25 major occupation groups or clusters. If you click on one of the 25 major groups, you will be led to the overview of the cluster and breakdown of the occupations within. It also provides education and training and median pay for each occupation. Information on state and area data, work environment, and similar occupations can also be found on this page. In addition, job seekers can also select from the highest paying, fastest growing and newest jobs. The Occupational Outlook Handbook is organized according to the Standard Occupation Classification System, or SOC system. On the left side of the screen, you can see the list of 25 major occupation groups or clusters. If you click on one of the 25 major groups, you will be led to an overview of the cluster and breakdown of the occupations within. It also provides education and training and median pay for each occupation. Information on state and area data, work environments, and similar occupations can also be found on this page. In addition, job seekers can also select from highest paying, fastest growing, and newest jobs.
Next, let's take a look at ONET. This program serves as the nation's primary source of occupational information. It is the companion to the ONET Interest Profiler. This database provides occupation descriptions on almost 1,000 occupations covering the entire U.S. economy. There are multiple methods for searching for occupations, but users have the option to search by SOC codes or SOC codes, Holland codes, military occupation classifications, or search by major occupation groups or clusters. This website also offers 3 alternative career exploration sites for students, veterans, and Spanish speakers. These alternative sites are My Next Move for veterans, and Mi Próximo Paso. This website is a wealth of resources that you can utilize in the classroom. If you click on the ONET Sites tab on the far right-hand corner, then select Resource Center on the drop-down menu, you will discover the hidden treasure. Here are some examples of topics you can explore. Career exploration tools, you can find under exploration tools, you can find a pencil and paper version of the interest profiler assessment that you can print out and hand to your students. And there's also an assessment on abilities that come complete with an instruction manual. That is a printed test. It's not available online, but it looks really interesting. And if you want to learn more about the SOC codes, just go to the occupation taxonomy to learn more. Under the first column, there are Spanish resources. You know, we could actually do a whole webinar just on ONET alone. It's an amazing website. And that's something I wanted to bring up earlier, that profile test, the one that we went over, the interest profiler. It's a lot more basic than the purchase ones, but it still does a good job. However, you might find that some of the career choices that come up for your students are a little interesting. For example, I had a student who took the test, and his ideal occupation came back as a midwife, which he said absolutely not. There's no way he would ever be a midwife. But what then you have to do is take a look at what those different skills are that go into being a midwife, and then apply that in other areas. And you'll find that there are similar jobs or occupations out there. It's just that for whatever reason, their broad general example happens to be something like midwifery or military officer, something along those lines. But you'll have to look and help your students see that there are other occupations out there that are similar. So just a FYI for you. But let's get back to that career exploration example that we talked about earlier. So our example was Tevin, who had the Holland code RAE. But now we're going to show you how to explore different careers using Tevin's Holland code. So a way to do this is to go to the advanced search and then go to interests on that drop-down menu, and then you will see this next page here. And since that first letter in the Tevin's Holland code was R, we're going to click on realistic. Then that leads us to this page that shows you, okay, the first category or the first 3-letter interest code was R for realistic. Then the second one, we selected A for artistic. And now for the third one, we're going to select E for enterprising. Then we'll hit go. And then you see the different results. These are the different types of occupations that are available to someone with this specific Holland code. And it doesn't have to be in that RAE order. It can be AER or ERA. It still fits. Again, there is so much information on this page. Something else I want to point out to you is here you're seeing that summary report for the graphic design position that we chose. Right here, you can see that this is that 27, under the summary report, you see 27-1024.00, which is actually the SOC code that represents graphic designers. So you would enter, like I said before, you could enter the SOC codes to search for specific jobs too. And now under this report, you see that there's all these different hyperlinks that are going to take you to different sections of the report. One that I really want to demonstrate to you or talk about is the job zone. Before we do that, I want to also point out to you that you have the interest category, you have work styles, work values. Again, if your students take those assessments, then they will see they can go to these different jobs or occupations and see, based on their assessments, their for work values or work styles, do the jobs that they're interested in, do they match? So it's a great tool here. Now, let's take a look at Job Zone. The Job Zone shows you how much education is required. The graphic designers are listed at a Job Zone 4, which is considerable preparation needed. And below the Job Zone section is the education area, which shows the level of education that most people in this profession have. Now, you can see that the majority of the people who are graphic designers, they have a bachelor's degree. You can see that 15% also they have an associate's degree, and there is a small percentage, 8%, that just have a post-secondary certificate. So this might be something where a student could get their foot in the door by just getting a post-secondary certificate and then work their way up as they learn or develop their skills. Maybe they're doing something as a graphic designer, with a post-secondary certificate, again, just to get themselves in the door while they're going to school to get their associate's degree or even their bachelor's degree. Again, it's really important to record your findings in the career exploration process. On this slide, we created a template to help students narrow their career choices down to their top 3. For each occupation, students should write out the average annual salary, list the 3 things a person in this position typically does, and then determine whether this job would be a good fit for them. Next, they should evaluate the education and training requirements for their top 3 career choices. So on this template, we have students compare the type of degree and or training required, list the educational steps they would need to take in order to prepare for this field, and then we ask them to determine the institution or program that they want where this occupation is offered, and then how long will it take, the cost, and how will they pay for it?
By now, you should have a better understanding of career exploration and how to utilize labor market information in this process. This next section, we will discuss how to plan for success by demonstrating ways they can test out their top 3 career choices in order to choose their best option and then start to plan for potential obstacles.
So utilizing career videos is a great resource to explore career options, learn about abilities and skills and education or training requirements. It's an easy way for job seekers to discover what matches their interests. Career videos are designed to present a kind of a sneak peek or a day in the life or overview of what it's like to do that particular occupation.
Participating in an informational interview may be a great option for individuals interested in a targeted career field. Please keep in mind that this is not an actual job interview. In this process, participants can ask questions to someone who is already working in the career field that they might be interested in. These questions are based on real-life experiences and can range from questions such as how long this person has been in their career field to what they like most about their job.
Exploring career options can also be accomplished by job shadowing. By participating in job shadowing, prospective applicants can gain on-the-job training. They can actually walk through and see firsthand and experience firsthand what it's like an average day in that particular occupation. And from that, if they're good at networking, they might be able to swing an internship. It's a great opportunity. To maybe secure a job shadowing opportunity is to work with your local Workforce Solutions office. They have people in their offices that work specifically with employers. And there might be an opportunity to get with one of those, I forget what they're called, business consultants, and see if there's any local companies that would be willing to allow either someone to come and shadow with them or maybe do an informational interview. Again, your local Workforce Solutions office is a great resource, especially if your students want to make connections with employers.
Once students have narrowed down their occupational choice, they can complete a self-inventory questionnaire. Completing a self-inventory questionnaire will assist students in organizing their thoughts and examine the steps they need to take to reach their goal. Remind students that laying the foundation for their success plan takes careful preparation and planning. The process of asking themselves these 5 questions will ultimately help them with setting their career goals. We encourage students to reflect on their hobbies, likes, and interests, as research has shown that most people always do better in careers that are based on the things they enjoy doing.
So now that we've summed up how to plan for success, students can begin pursuing their career path. By the time your students reach step 4, they should know what career path they want to pursue. In this section, we will share the steps on assisting your students on creating an action plan, tips on developing a successful job resume, and elaborate on support services that are readily available. Some of your students may be facing obstacles or barriers while in the process of conducting their job search. And we can also provide solutions and guidance for individuals who may struggle with these issues. There's a list of services that Workforce Solutions can offer for who qualify for these services. Well, as long as they qualify for these services.
To be successful at just about anything in life, one must develop an effective plan. For career seekers who are on their journey to self-discovery, we will discuss some key points with you they can apply to be successful personally as well as professionally. They should ask themselves what their target goal is and write that down. Questions more specific to career planning should include what kind of job do I want, the minimum salary I'm willing to accept, and what skills and experiences can I offer to the company. Finally, if students feel they need to further their education for their career choice, taking the necessary steps to fulfill those requirements should be completed.
So making a plan of action is a great way for students to get motivated on setting their personal and professional goals. So encourage your students to consider their short-term and long-term goals. You can ask them, where do they see themselves in 6 months to a year from now? Advise them to begin thinking about their long-term goals and setting a timeline for completing their action plan. By taking the appropriate measures and setting their targeted goals into action, students will be better equipped for success personally and professionally. And so here you could see an example of some short-term goals that one of our students listed. So, for example, someone said they want to pursue nursing. Their long-term goal is to become an RN. But short-term goals is they want to get into a CNA program so that they can, something that's short, maybe they can do that in 6 weeks and then start applying for caregiver positions. Sometimes they can get into a caregiver position without having the CNA, but CNA might give them a better boost in income. And then then the next step would be applying for nursing programs. And then a personal goal is to buy a used car. And then the long-term goals for this person is to graduate from an RN program, work as an ER nurse in the medical center, and buy a loft or condo near the medical center. You can also see the steps to take now in order to achieve the goals, and then the dates of completion. So this, again, is just a sample, a template that we created, but gives your students, I think once people put things down on paper, it makes it much more concrete for them, and it makes them more excited about their goals because now they can see it in front of them.
There are numerous support services available for your students on the Workforce Solutions website. Support services include child care assistance, financial aid for scholarships, and career exploration. Workforce Solutions offers employment counselors who are specialized to assist customers who meet the required qualifications with their specific needs. Whether a customer is a single parent, student, a veteran, or experiencing a disability, Workforce Solutions employees can advise individuals by guiding them in the right direction.
So now let's talk about creating a resume. So the first step to keep in mind is to create the format so that it's easy to read. And by doing so, employers can read over their document quickly and thoroughly without causing any confusion. Most resumes get only about 10 to 15 second glance. It's really important that that job seekers are able to highlight their most relevant information at the top of their resume, including education. And then job applicants can choose to use the chronological or functional resume style for listing their work experience. We find, though, that job seekers who don't have a whole lot of experience, it's probably best to use the chronological format compared to job seekers who have a lot of experience. If you've got a lot of experience, or maybe your experience is international from a home country, then you might want to use a functional resume in order to highlight your experience, and then later on in the resume show job history, so that will show, okay, there's an actual, yes, they worked at this factory or this business, from this time to this time in Venezuela or India or China or wherever it was that they came from. And that will help, because what that does is it shows the employer, okay, this person's got a lot of skills, they've got a lot of experience, and that's what you want to put foremost in your employer's mind. This is what they can do. And then they look down further, they can say, oh, okay, well, they're from a different country. But they don't have that in their head first. They have their experience first. So that's the beauty of a functional resume. But again, that's another webinar talk altogether. So now we're going to conclude our presentation, and we just want to thank you for participating in our webinar today. And again, I wish that we could entertain some questions at this time. But Olga, I don't know what to say here.
Well, very good. Thank y'all so much for the presentation today.
You're welcome.
And we thank everybody who attended.
Do we want to start this one over again? Because I thought so. We want to thank you for participating in our webinar. On the next slide, on the next couple slides, you're going to see a list of resources that we've put together for you. Some are from earlier in the webinar, as well as some additional resources that we're making available. And I believe that these will be available to you through a PDF document also on the
Community of Practice.
Yeah, thank you. Somewhere on that website. Well, and that concludes everything. On behalf of Jasmine and myself, we thank you for participating in today's webinar, and we look forward to meeting you guys again.
Thank you so much, Jasmine and Victoria. A lot of great information. And as I heard you saying throughout, this could be a whole nother session. So,
Yes.
So thank you so much for your presentation.
It was our pleasure. Thank you.